My name is Victoria and welcome to my channel. I'm a flight attendant based in San Francisco, California. I asked you guys on Instagram yesterday what kind of video you wanted to see from me because I wanted to do a sit-down video where I'm just talking to you guys, give you a little bit more information about me and just kind of chat with you guys. And the video that won, or the idea that won, was how I became a flight attendant. So I have notes because it's not a long story, but it kind of like goes in and out. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be talking to you guys about today. How I became a flight attendant, what kind of my last 5 years have been like as a flight attendant, I guess you could say. So yeah, let's get started. In order for me to tell this story, I have to go to the beginning, which was when I was 21 years old and I was working as an administrative assistant for a couple different retail companies, and I thought I was enjoying my job until I wasn't. I was working my last job and I had a boss that I felt like did not respect me at all. As a human being. This person just did not respect me as a person and became more of a like personal thing than just like it was personal, and I was miserable to the point where my boss was treating me terribly. I was working crazy hours, and I was like going home and crying every single night, and I was dreading going to work the next day. I had a very set schedule. Like I worked Monday through Friday, 7 to 4 for the most part, and I was miserable. Like every single day I would come home and I'd be exhausted, so I'd take a nap and then I'd wake up and then I'd have dinner and then I'd like watch something on TV and then I'd go to bed, and I would do the same thing every single day. And I realized I'm like, I am way too young to be this miserable. I mean, I don't think anybody should ever be miserable with their job, but I was just like, I am 21. I should not be in this like repetitive, doing the same thing every day stage. So I knew that I wanted a change, but I had no idea what that change was going to be. I don't think I've said anything yet. But my mom is a flight attendant. She has been flying since before I was born, and it's what she's loved to do for forever. She absolutely loves her job. Around this time of me, you know, being miserable with everything, she was telling me, Victoria, like, the airlines are hiring, like, you should apply, like, see if you can get on and become a flight attendant. And to be honest, I didn't want to. I was like, nope, there's no way. I don't want to be a flight attendant. Like, that just doesn't seem like my kind of thing. Like, I like a schedule. Like, I like knowing what I'm doing and like doing the same thing, and just nope, no way. Sorry. Like, love the job for you, but it's not for me. And so I just was stubborn and like refused to listen to her. She just kept pushing me and pushing me. She's like, just apply, just try it out. And so finally I got to the point where I'm like, okay, you know what? Just to get her off my back, I'm applying. I just did like the online application and whatever. I kind of forgot about it. And a few days later, I was just at my breaking point with my job. I was just over it. Like, I was beyond frustrated and tired. And I walked in and I talked to my store manager and I said, hi, like I need to talk to you. And she goes, okay, like what's going on? And I said, you know what, like, I'm miserable. I'm not happy here. My direct manager treats me terribly and I'm done. Like, I'm quitting. And she's like, oh, so like you're putting in your 2-week notice. I'm like, no, like I'm done. Like, I'm leaving and I'm not coming back. And I'm not that kind of person at all. I'm very much like a planner. I'm very organized. Like, I overthink to the extreme. And I didn't overthink this. I just walked in and basically was like, yeah, hi, I'm letting you know I'm done and I'm never coming back, and peace. So I left and I quit my job, and I called one of my friends and I was just like, what did I just do? Did I just quit my job and I have like no backup plan, like nothing? Like I just quit my job. Like what am I supposed to do? And a couple days of like freak out, like, and I was just like, what am I gonna do with my life? Like I cannot believe I just quit my job. Now, like hindsight, it's probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. This is my story, so please don't think I'm giving anybody suggestions on what to do with their life, but this is what I did. It happened to work out for me. It could have gone terribly wrong, but thankfully it didn't. So if you're ever in a position where you really don't like your job, it's okay. If you are financially okay to handle not getting a paycheck for a while, do what you gotta do. All I have to say is do what makes you happy. I quit my job, didn't know what to do. I sat there for like a week and a half, 2 weeks. I'm just like, hi, I don't know what I'm gonna do with my life. And then I got an email from the airline that I applied to, and they asked me to do a video interview. This video interview was, you sit there and record yourself, pretty much like what I'm doing right now. 5 questions pop up on the screen, and it gives you, I think you got like a 2-minute window to answer each question. Of course, talking to my mom, I'm like, okay, what should I wear? Like, what am I supposed to look like? What like are the best answers? And she's like, pull your hair back in a bun, like wear like nice natural makeup, but then wear like red lips, and like wear like a little bit of jewelry, but nothing too flashy, and wear like a nice sweater, like a button-down shirt. Like if you have a blazer, wear a blazer. So let me tell you, I wish I had a picture of it because it was the funniest thing. I'm standing there and I got it to where like I had my vanity at the time had like 3 different lights. So I had each light like turned towards my face, and I had my computer sitting in front of it. So it was just like super bright and like zoomed in on my face. And you can only see from like here up, like just a little bit more than you can right now. I wish I remembered what I had, but I think I had like a white button-down shirt, and I put like a blazer or like a sweater over it. And I want to say I had this necklace on. This is like my go-to. And I had my hair pulled back as tight as possible, like in a bun. And I think I did do like another braid or like something along the sides, like little studs. And I did like a natural face, but like with red, like a deep red lipstick. And then I had like yoga pants on the bottom. And then, but then still, because I was standing, like I didn't want to slouch, like, because when you're sitting, you naturally kind of slouch. I was standing, but I wanted to look like taller. So I put heels on. So like if you can imagine, like business from the top, like regular boring leggings, like these like leggings on the bottom, and then heels. And I don't even think they were like work heels. I think they were like glitter, like go out to the glove heels. And so I'm standing there and I'm ready for the first video, and somehow I got totally screwed up and I like pushed the wrong button to like start the video. First question came up, and I thought that it was like, I don't know, I thought I was gonna have to like press play again or something like that, but I didn't. And so I'm like, okay, like thinking in my head, like preparing of like what to say and everything like that. And then I like go to like press it, and it goes, answer saved. Excuse me, I hadn't said anything. I just sat there and like stared at the screen like a dummy. And so I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Like, I don't have an answer. Like, they're gonna get this and they're just to see me like reading. And so I panicked, and I called my mom. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not even gonna get like another interview. Like, I can't figure this out. So I ended up like reaching out to them and saying like, I'm so sorry, there was technical difficulties, like my computer wasn't working, like I couldn't record, like can you please send me another link and let me redo it, because they only let you do it once. They only let you record your answers one time. Thankfully, it was like 2 days of like panic, because I was just like, great, I blew it. Like, I'm not even gonna get a second chance. Like, they're probably thinking, if she can't even figure out how to answer questions, there is no way that she's gonna be able to do the job. Thankfully, they sent me another link. I got re-dressed up. All of them, I did all 5 answers. I can't remember what the questions were. I know one of them was like, why do you want to be a flight attendant, right? What are your 3 best attributes, and what are your 3 worst qualities, and something like that. I wish I remember. If you are a flight attendant and you've gone through a video interview process, let me know what your 5 questions were, because I think if I like saw them again, it would remind me, and I'd be able to let you guys know what the 5 questions were. Did that, sent it off, and then so about 2 weeks later, I got an email saying, hi, you know, we really appreciate your video interview. We'd like you to come in for a one-on-one and group interview. Like, okay, like next step, this is a big deal. And so what they did, because I only lived, at the time I was about an hour away from San Francisco airport, they just had me drive in. But if you lived further away, like let's say you lived in Portland, they flew you out from Portland to San Francisco to do your interview. And so we did it in different bases. Because I was right there, it was San Francisco, but if you live in Denver, then you would do it at the Denver airport. It was like 4 airports, I think, that did interviews. And then they would just fly you to the closest one. You would literally fly in, do the interview, and then as soon as it was over, fly back out. So you're only there for the day. Thankfully, I didn't have to because I lived right there, but I did get a hotel near the airport because traffic was going to be crazy, and I think I had to be there like 7:30 in the morning or some crazy early time, and I didn't want to be like even more stressed while I was driving through traffic. So I went the night before, and I do have a picture of what I wore. So if I can find the picture, I will put it right here or right here, wherever. It'll be somewhere. So I got all dressed up. I slept really well in the hotel. I got there to the airport, and they gave you directions on like which bus to take and like where to go for what, but I was still super nervous. And thankfully I had my mom. Like, I can't imagine not knowing anybody in the industry and like not knowing where to go at all. We were in a group of like, I want to say like 10 to 12 people. And we were all sitting there. We were all waiting to be interviewed and everything. And I remember my mom telling me like, Victoria, they're watching you from the second that you step into the building. Make sure you interact with people, make sure you're super friendly, like clean up after yourself, clean up after others, like be situationally aware, like all of that kind of stuff. And I was, like, I swear, I don't think I've ever talked so much in my life. Talking to people, listening to people, like trying to remember details about people and like all this kind of stuff as we're sitting there chit-chatting. Like, people are asking if I want coffee, and I don't drink coffee, but I'm taking coffee because I don't want to seem impolite and ungracious. Did it need to be that much? No, I definitely like overstressed. We like sat down, listened to people. They were, you know, talking to us about the job and what to expect. And everything that they kept saying was, are you prepared to relocate? I'm like, of course, like I'll move anywhere you want me to, whatever it takes for me to have this job. Sitting there knowing darn well, I'm like, yeah, I'm not leaving California. like, sorry, like cold weather is not for me. I'm staying in California. So either San Francisco or LA. I'm not going anywhere else. And everybody was saying that. Like, everybody was like, oh, anywhere. Like, I love to travel. Like, I love seeing the world. Like, I love meeting new people. I'll go anywhere. I can live anywhere. I can pack up all my stuff like that. No, we can't. We did like a group interview, and then they called us in for like a one-on-one interview. I actually had a one-on-one and then a 3-on-1 where there was 3 interviewers and myself. But so the one-on-one, they just sat there. It was only like a 5-minute conversation, and they asked me to like read a script, and it was basically like a welcome aboard announcement, like welcome aboard, blah, 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 airline flight number 1234 with service to Denver, Colorado, whatever. And they just had us read a couple things like that. I actually just recently found out that the reason they had us read off of these scripts is so that way we were looking down at what we were reading, and the interviewer could take a look and see like what we were wearing, if we had any visible tattoos or piercings or anything like that, and we wouldn't even notice that they were like checking on us appearance wise. And then it gave us like a couple scenarios, like what would you do if the person that you were working the beverage cart with decided they didn't want to work? Would you like work by yourself? Would you say okay and not work at all? Would you yell at the other flight attendant? Like things like that, right? Then after that, they're like, okay, cool, like great, thank you so much. We'll have you go back into the room. And we came back into the room and I noticed that we were down, if there were like 12 people, we were down to like 9. A couple of people didn't pass that first one-on-one interview. And then they called us one by one in to do a 3-on-1 interview. And I was called in and I remember sitting there and I had 3 women. By the way, all of the interviewers are flight attendants. So for my airline, and I think it's the same for others, but for us it was flight attendants, and they sat down and they talked to me some more, asked me some more questions, and then I'm not gonna lie, kind of like softened them up a little bit. So I mentioned the fact that my mom's a flight attendant and how I wanted to be a flight attendant too, and blah, 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 blah. And sorry, I mean, after the 3-on-1, they were like, thank you so much. We appreciate it. We love you. We would like to offer you an invitation to join our training classes. You don't just immediately get the job and then you're hired. You actually have to go through training. And after the training, if you pass all of the training, then you get hired on. Even though I passed that interview, I still wasn't like hired. I said, yes, of course, I'd love to join, you know, training, blah, blah, blah. They said, okay, great. Then they said, we actually have a drug testing center here in San Francisco at the airport. We'd like to send you over there now to get drug tested. Like, okay, cool, great. So they said, but go ahead and head back to the room and just wait for a few more minutes and then we'll send you over there. I'm like, okay, cool. So I go back into the room and there were only 4 of us. Like, all 4 of you, like, you have passed the interviews. We, you know, if you haven't been told already, we'd like to, you know, have you guys join one of our new training classes coming up. We're going to send you over to the drug testing center in the airport, and you guys are free to go, and you'll be getting paperwork from us regarding when your training dates are going to be. So go over to the drug testing center. We all got drug tested. Easy peasy, you know, just pee into a cup. Thankfully, I had drank all that coffee beforehand because I was not drinking anything. I was so freaking nervous. I went home, and a few days later, probably like a week later, they sent me information and they said, okay, like, when would you like to go to training? The next class that you can join us in is in 2 weeks. And I said, perfect, done, send me, let's go. And my mom explained later on, and I definitely realize now, is that the sooner you get into training, that is when your hire date starts. Even though technically you won't be officially hired until after you graduate training, at least for my company, your training date starts when you go into training. And it really does make a difference. It's all about seniority, and it truly does make a difference. It's really kind of difficult to explain, but the longer you've been flying, higher standby you are, so the more likely that you'll get a seat on a flight. Like right now, if both my mom and I were to try to fly to Chicago just for fun and we fly for free on standby, my mom would get on before I am just because she's more senior than I am. So it makes a difference. Even if it's just a week, that's a week. That's 40 to 100 people that you get on the plane first before them. Not to mention, the more senior you are, the better your schedule will be. Whether you're on reserve, if you have a line, it really does matter. So the sooner you can get on, the better. So I got in with the training class. My hire date was September 21st, 2015. Our training was held in Houston, Texas. So they flew me from San Francisco to Houston. We were going to be there for 5.5 weeks. So I think I had 2.5 suitcases, like 2 suitcases and like a duffel or a big purse or something. Packed kind of crazy, but I didn't pack as crazy as some people did because I think they allowed us to have like 4 suitcases, but I only brought the 2.5 or whatever I brought. Got there and training was all like business casual attire, and we had a roommate in the hotel. So we were staying in a hotel room with 2 beds and 2 people, same gender. If you want to hear about my roommate from hell, let me know. And I can make a quick little video about that, because that was an experience. That was a test of my patience and character. And like, ooh, she was a crazy one. They're in training for 5.5 weeks, and we only had Sundays off. So Monday through Saturday, we'd get up early at like 7:30 in the morning, and they would charter a bus for us from the hotel to the training center, which was right near the airport. Learn every single day about the different aircrafts, medical equipment, emergency equipment, how to evacuate planes. We practice evacuating planes, service, all of those kind of things. We learned it all. And I actually have a book. I don't have the book here with me. I took notes like every single day, and it was like a full notebook that I filled up taking notes. And then like every other day we would have a test on it, and on what we had previously learned, and we had to get 80% or higher. And if we did not get 80% or higher, then we failed that test, and we were only allowed to fail one test. If we failed 2, we were out of the training program. And it was stressful. Like, I think I'm naturally I think I'm more introverted than I am extroverted. And so, especially when I'm in like a training, learning, or like stressful situation, so I would sit there in class every day and like take notes and like pay attention to everything they were saying. And I wouldn't really talk to people too much. Like on breaks, I would just like go out, get a bit of fresh air, like go to the bathroom, like try to eat something really quick, and then like go back in. And when we would get back from training, like we would get back each day to the hotel around like 4 or 5, like sometimes even later. I would get something to eat, and then I would study every single day. Like that was pretty much all I did every single day. I passed the test, but it was so stressful. If you would like me to go into more detail too of like the training, I can do that. Just let me know if you guys want to see like a detailed training video. I can give you guys that too, especially when airlines start hiring again. If you guys want to see my perspective of how training was, let me know. Passed all the tests. It was really sweet. They flew out, I can't remember how many people it was. I want to say it was 4 people that they were willing to fly out, family or friends, to come and be at your graduation ceremony where you got your wings. And the day before though, we had our final big exam, and it was a physical exam where you had to evacuate every single plane, and you had to evacuate them like it was a real emergency. And if you did not pass, you didn't pass training. You were not a flight attendant. So you went through that whole 5.5 weeks and you don't get your wings. So I was so nervous. I was so terrified. Everything was good. And they tell me that I passed, and I started crying. I had been so stressed and just not overwhelmed, but I was just exhausted and tired of being stressed and missing home and missing my family and my friends, that I just started crying. And I just felt so relieved that I passed. And I see my trainer, Angela. She comes over and gives me a hug, and she's like, "You did it. I'm so proud of you." And I go, "Oh my gosh." And I just started, it was like word vomit. Like I just started talking so much. And she goes, "Victoria," she goes, "I have not heard you talk that much the entire time you've been here." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I was stressed. Like, what did you expect?" It was, yeah, I was stressed. So anyways, my family came to my graduation. What is really, really cool is that almost every airline, I think, has this, that if you know someone in the industry, they can pin your wings on you. That is a big, huge, like, ceremonial. It's like the tassel thing, but for flight attendants is pinning your wings. And so my mom came, and my mom pinned my wings for me. I know I have pictures of that too, so I'll try to insert it. And she was trying not to cry, and I'm trying not to cry. And I was just like, "Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry." And she's like pinning it on. Oh, and I didn't tell you, maybe a couple weeks before graduation, they told us where we were going to be based. And we had 3 options. And each training class is different. Like, you got different options just depending on where they needed flight attendants. And so my options were Newark, New Jersey, Chicago, Illinois, or LA. And I was like, I wanted San Francisco. I was like, okay, well, hopefully I can get LA. If not, I think Chicago was my second choice, and then Newark. I think that's the order it was. Thankfully, I got LA. After graduation, I had 1 week at home before I had to be in LA to officially start flying. And so I went home and I repacked all my bags and I drove my car down to LA. Also put in my transfer to San Francisco to see if I could get in whenever I could. And thankfully, after those 2 months, I got my transfer to San Francisco. I packed all my stuff back up, left the crash pad, drove all the way back to San Francisco, and I've been there ever since. I'm coming up on my 5-year anniversary. That's so crazy. Like, I know I keep saying like I forget things, but there's so many details that I remember from training and from the interview process that I'm just like, how was that 5 years ago? It feels like it could have been 6 months ago. So that's pretty much how I became a flight attendant. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was fun getting to talk about it and reminisce. And if you guys liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment if you guys have any questions, or if you guys do want me to go into detail about training or anything like that. If you guys want to hear that crazy story about my roommate from training, let me know that too. That would be a fun video. But yeah, I just had fun kind of reminiscing and talking about all this, and I cannot believe that it's been 5 years. Oh, and now, you know, with everything and me possibly getting furloughed, it's kind of a bummer that I could be losing my wings right after 5 years. But oh well, that's life. I know that I will eventually come back to flying. So anyways, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys are having a great day or night wherever it is for you. So I hope you're staying safe and doing well, and make sure to send some love out to the world today. See ya.